it's Nicole Bonner with Thriving in Chiropractic, and we are here today with my good buddy, Dr. Colton O'Brien. Hey,
What's happening? Happy to be here. What's going on?
oh man, all good stuff. We don't have a guest today. It's just you and me today.
I think that'll work. That's fine. We got
I
we
think we
got
can
we got a
find
lot to
something to.
catch up on anyway.
Oh my gosh, we do. We do have a lot to catch up on. I think it'll be fine without a guest today. So,
Yeah, gotta
what's
get
been
my
going
dad
on, man?
calls going. Really not a lot. I mean, we're recording this on a Wednesday. Wednesdays are like my recovery slash administration day. So just chilling today. I got a screening later this afternoon. So yeah, just enjoying the day. Just went on a run. But yeah, life is
Nice.
really good. I'm I don't know, you know how you like life is a rhythm of, ebb and flow and expansion and contraction. And to be honest, like the fall, like just mentally, emotionally was more of like a contraction for me, like energetically, just kind of go within to, then later set up an expansion. And kind of that's what I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling like I'm living bigger at the moment. Like I feel a lot of like expansion and growth happening in my life right now. And a lot of it is just like spiritually and mentally, which, that affects literally everything. So yeah, I'm blessed to be where I'm at. I mean, I don't know if I'd say that like a month ago. I was kind of, heavy a month ago, but
Yeah.
right now feeling good. What about you? How are you?
Good. I'm feeling really good. I'm kind of like even thinking about some of the stuff that you were saying here. I love how you have Wednesday as your recovery day.
Mm,
One of the things that I see a lot with people that are opening practices is that they're like, and I'm not telling guys, don't take this the wrong way. So there's energy that you have to put into this thing called opening a practice for sure. Um, but I feel like a lot of times when people are opening practices or if they're in their first year of practice, they're like constantly on the treadmill
mm,
and they forget to give their body and their mind and their spirit a recovery day, if you will. And what I found is that in the moments that I'm most stressed, in the pressure cooker, heavy, are the moments that I need to get away the
mm,
most. And when I say get away, I don't mean like run away from the problems. I mean like get into my quiet space, get into prayer, get into meditation, take a couple of days off. This past weekend, you guys know I went to Tony Robbins. I know we're going to talk a little bit about that this in this podcast. And wow, what a difference it makes to just get into that space, get into space with other like-minded people. And it's kind of like in the beginning when you're about to do it, it's like this weird dichotomy where you're like, oh my God, I'm like really busy in the practice. Can I leave the practice? Is it going to fall apart without me? Like, I can't take time off. And what ends up happening is that when we get into those places of quiet or going to an event like Tony Robbins or a chiropractic event, it actually works in reverse. It
mm.
opens up our capacity, it opens up our freedom, it opens up our focus and our attention, and it energizes our body. And I think the thing that hit me most this past weekend is Tony said that everything in your life, the quality of everything in your life depends upon the quality of your energy.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah. Think about that.
I mean, yeah, that's huge. And it's like as chiropractors, man, we should know that better than anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
we're here, we have this vital energy, this substance, this innate intelligence that, operates through us. And we're here to clear that through adjustments of the spine. And if we're subluxated, if we're in that suppressed, dampened state, then how are we supposed to be the light? I can't remember who said it, but I think someone said that like our like main role as chiropractors is make sure we're well adjusted, right?
Yeah.
So we got to show up clear. So that's cool. That's cool. And I can totally relate, like leaving the practice or taking vacation or anything like that. It's always like, man, like this is time that I could be spending, on the practice, but it's just as important to pour into you, because I mean, you can only take someone as far as you've gone yourself, and that includes like your energetic state. So if you're just bogged down, stressed, overwhelmed, just pedal to the metal, like as a reflection, you're probably going to see a lot of that in your practice.
Absolutely. And I love, that's a great one-liner. Can you say it again? You can only help somebody as much as you've helped yourself, or as far along as you've taken yourself.
Yeah, well, it's funny because we said that a lot in chiropractic school, because I mean that's like an incubator for, like, you're learning about chiropractic, but you're also healing a lot of the things that about yourself that you're like becoming aware of in chiropractic school. And so we always talked about how, like, hey man, like this is a time to really work on yourself, because you can only take someone as far as you've gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of what
Yep.
we would talk about quite a bit.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So you're doing a screening today, huh?
Yeah, I got a text from just a few months ago. I went to an LA Fitness and just hung out, talked to the manager, had like a lot of rapport with him, and he just texted me and said, "Hey, you got anything going on today?" And I'm like, "Actually, no, I don't." And so said, "Why don't you come by, set up a booth for a client appreciation?" So I'm doing that. I'm doing something cool, which I've
Cool.
never done before. Yeah, December 2nd, I am going to an apartment complex and doing like a wellness day in there, like little gym area. So people are like scheduling appointments, and I'm doing like mini screenings and health talk and stuff like that.
Nice. Nice. I did that once.
They do. I think that's a great. I
Yeah.
mean, we'll see. I mean, it's just an opportunity for, a lot of people live there, so could be a
Mhm.
cool little event. So we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you posted.
That is awesome. That's awesome. It's fascinating. I'm going to ask you a question. Um, you're probably like, what is she going to ask me now? So, feel like there's been a little bit of a trend in our profession to like move away, and somebody actually just commented. I had to take the comment down because it was getting some bad slack, but somebody had made a comment on one of my Thrive posts about screenings being like spinal screenings being outdated, and just about taking that time really to like be with your family and things like that. But you seem to do both. Like you have it all. Like you do your spinal screenings, you do outside talks, you do all kinds of outside events and external. I don't even want to call it marketing, because you're not a marketer. You're just a giver. You're just a lover and a giver of humanity, Colton. Um, so like, can you speak on that a little bit? Like, have you felt like it takes away from, time with family, or it doesn't? I mean, when I look at you, it seems like it doesn't. It seems like actually when you do these things and you're serving more, it actually seems like you have more to give to your family. That's my
Yeah.
perspective from the outside of you.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And to be honest, I don't think there's any like absolutes in life. Like, I don't think there's like, I mean, there are some absolutes, but I don't think this is an absolute. I don't think it's a you should or you shouldn't. Like, some people are great with their social media marketing and their Google ads and just like referrals, and that's awesome. But for me right now, growing a practice, like usually if I spend my Saturday sitting on the couch in the morning, like I don't feel productive anyway. So then my mind is on the business. But on the contrary, if I set up a little like 2 hour screening, I wake up before my wife is even out of bed. I go do that screening, and then I come back with like a coffee or something and be like, hey babe, I got 2 patients, 3 patients, 5 patients on the books today, and I don't have to worry about this next week for new patient volume. So it one, it's for peace of mind, and then two, it's like, what else would I rather be doing than spreading a little bit of chiropractic and then go having fun on my
Mhm.
Saturday, or getting the rest I need on my Saturday. That's kind of how I look at it, and yeah, I think it's fun. It's like you taught me that. I think that's what was a big perspective shift. Like, I don't feel like I'm working when I'm screening, because it's like, man, this is an opportunity that someone hear about chiropractic. So I also don't really hold big expectations on screenings. It's like highest intention, no expectation. It's like, I'm just here to talk about chiropractic, and whether it's met well or not, then that's not up to me. I just try and communicate as clearly and as confidently as possible. And then, some people get it, some people don't, but either way they heard it. So that's just kind of how I look at that. And, maybe someday I'll do less, but right now it's working for me. The practice is growing, and yeah, I have fun with it.
That's awesome. I love that because I feel like people miss out, you know, because I always felt the same way too. Like I don't really do screenings anymore. Um, Sometimes I have the desire to do them for the purpose of like getting out and sharing the message of chiropractic because, you know, now I do it through like digital, right? Because we live in like a different age than when I opened my practice. But when I opened my practice, digital didn't exist. So the only way to get the
Mm.
chiropractic message out was like a screening or a talk or to do some kind of like, you know, external event like you're doing at the apartment complex. But for me, I always felt like really the same way. For me, it was something that I wanted to do. It wasn't like a burden that I felt like I had to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think when you can shift your mindset into looking at it as an act of service instead of an act of serving you, right? Through like getting new patients or money or something like that. Then it becomes this whole different like this whole different vibe. And it also becomes something that you desire to do instead of something that you feel like is taking away from your life. It becomes something that's actually giving to your life.
Yeah, and you said something right there that I like kind of want to speak to as far as just like anything in life. As far as like the service attitude, like I got into this. I remember being in clinic and just talking to chiropractors. I'm like, dude, you get to see patients all day long when we're seeing like one or two a day in clinic. I'm like, how cool is that? And I just remember like holding such reverence for like the patient experience, and I still do. But there's a period in practice, like an underperforming month, where I was just checking collections like on an hour, like how much stuff like that. And it's just like that even in my adjusting hours. And I'm just like, where was the shift? Where did it change? And so I really had to check myself on that and just get back to that place of like pure service because like that's what it's about. That's what I love about this chiropractic thing. And like you always say, money is, it comes as a result of, service. So I don't know. I think that's something to realize and constantly be checking yourself on because I caught myself in that trap of like, okay, money, collections, yada yada. But truly, like I love being on the table with people and getting to adjust and speak and share. So I think that's really cool.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. I'm glad you shared that about that.
Yeah, that's kind of the you got to share the hard stuff, the struggles too. Sometimes, Can you hear me well?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, but I heard you. Yeah,
Cool.
that's one of the things that I love doing. That's why I love doing this podcast with you, is because you're always authentic and you're always real and you always tell us about all the good stuff, but you also always tell us about the down stuff too, like the struggles. So so I love that. I thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've shared a little bit today, but yeah, I want to hear about your experience in the great city of Dallas when you came to see Tony Robbins. You also got to bring your son, which is so cool. So tell me a little bit about what this experience was like.
So first of all, words, Colton, can't even describe the experience. You have to experience it.
Yeah.
If there's anything that you saved your money this year to do, it would be that. It was totally transformative. I brought my son. It was really cool because he had two really amazing, I think, transformations. One was I brought my son has been brought up with like Christian values and he went to Christian school and he went to Christian churches, but I always felt like he never really like got it.
Mm.
You know, I always felt like he never really like it was never in here. Like it was in here, like but it never like made it down to his heart. And like this weekend, the Christ consciousness, whatever however you want to call it, went from his head to his heart.
Wow.
And I was like in tears. I was like just so grateful and thankful that we were at that seminar and Tony just put it in a way that for whatever reason it made that shift for my son. And so like he kind of went into the weekend with not having a relationship, what I would call a relationship with God, and leaving the weekend and basically leaving saying like, everything that I do, mommy, I want to do for the Lord, which was awesome. So that was a really spectacular shift for him. And then also for him,
that's so cool.
say that again.
I said, and what else could you ask for? That's literally the most important thing that's what we're on this earth to do, is to live for the Lord, and to get that at his age, and just to like make it from here to here, like you said, like that's a game changer. So yeah, go ahead. But I just had to comment on that because that's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, that for me, that was like, oh, that was like the best thing that could have came out of this weekend. Um, and then, he's 15, so he's been, I think, having like a bit of this like mental/emotional struggle, like what am I gonna do with my life kind of thing. And I kind of hear back and forth, like, his passion, and I could see it. His passion is working on dirt bikes. The guy loves to ride dirt bikes. He likes to fix dirt bikes. He loves to work on engines. And but I can see him having this conflict in his head of like, well, my mom's a doctor, my mom's a chiropractor, my dad's this engineer, and I could see him like physically having this conflict in his head about becoming a mechanic, right? And so I try, I have lots of times like sat him down, talked to him like, hey, what's going on? He's like, maybe I'll just become a chiropractor. I was like, no, I was like, God has a calling for you. And I was like, you just don't become just something. Like find what your passion is and go after that. And then so after this weekend in Tony Robbins, he's like, Mom, he's like, I really want to do something with dirt bikes. So I said to him, I go, well, why don't you? I go, you're always looking online, like through Facebook Marketplace of like, for dirt bikes and for deals. I go, why don't you buy a dirt bike for like $100 and like fix it up and like sell it for whatever? And he's like, I can do that. And I was like, that's called capitalism, Cole Lucas.
That's cool.
I'm like, you could. And so, yeah. So yesterday I took him for his first bike. I gave him a loan. I gave him a loan out of the bank of mommy. And he's going to pay me back with interest. Okay. And we went to pick up his first bike yesterday, and he's going to fix it up and sell it, hopefully make a profit. So
that's so cool. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was exciting.
That's special. And just learn, I mean, you're teaching him so much.
It was tremendous, and it is.
And just showing him it's possible. Like, you can take those risks.
Yeah, well,
and be passion.
Right. Right. Well, that was a big part of the weekend too, Colton, is they had some speakers. On one speaker actually really stood out to me. One of the speakers was, I cannot remember her name, and I should know her name because I'm a female, I'm a lady. And she and I actually used her makeup product line. And she is the founder of It Cosmetics. I'm not sure if you know about It Cosmetics, but Liz probably knows about It Cosmetics.
So.
And it's great. They're great cosmetics. And I'll share her. I'm gonna share her story with you. Her story is freaking amazing. So here she was, and she's a Denny's waitress. Here she was as a waitressing at Denny's restaurant. And so the first that happens as a waitress is she saved up all of her tip money and she goes to Robbins UPW event. And she goes to the UPW event, and after the UPW event, she's like, she realizes like, all right, I know that God has a plan for my life. I know that I'm supposed to contribute to humanity in some way. I just don't quite know what that looks like. But I do have this dream job, and my dream job is to become an anchor and an anchor woman on TV. So she enrolls in college, becomes an anchor woman on TV, and one of her health concerns was that she had severe rosacea. And it was so bad that every time she would cover up her rosacea with foundation, the foundation would crack, and then you'd be able to see these like bright lines on her skin, like breaking through the foundation makeup. And so one day she is on the air live in front of millions of people, and her foundation starts to crack. And see all these like things you guys don't worry about, but us ladies have to think about. Her foundation starts to crack, and the people behind the scenes are like telling her, because she has her earbud in, they're telling her like, you have something on your face. And so she, of course, was live in front of millions of people, so she couldn't like take a mirror and like look. And so she's like kind of going like this and kind of going like this, and like nothing's coming off of her face. And so they kept on saying, something's on your face, something's on your face, something's on your face. So long story short, when she was done with that episode, when she was off the air, she looks at her face and she's like, oh shit. Like her rosacea started showing through on the air in front of millions of people. And so that horrifying experience prompted her or fueled her to open IT Cosmetics, or it's called It Cosmetics. And her vision for It Cosmetics was to be totally different from all other cosmetic lines, because every cosmetic line are using models that are really unattainable. Like even with the best makeup, people are still not looking like, super models. So she wanted to use models that were like the normal everyday people, like me and her, right? And so long story short, she creates the makeup out of her living room, Colton. And she pitches it to all kinds of stores. And for 3 years, L'Oreal told her no, told her no. Everywhere she pitched, told her no. And QVC even tells her no. And she and her husband were down to under. So could you imagine, you're in your first year of practice. Could you imagine being in your first year of practice and every single new patient told you, no, I don't want to start care in your practice? Could you imagine that?
I can't even imagine how I'd feel. I'd feel so defeated.
No. Well, listen to this. So it gets even crazier. So she finally finds an investor that seems to be interested in her company to invest in. And they go through like all the processes of investing. And then they finally have an in-person meeting. And the investor pulls the rug out from under her, says, we're not investing with you. And she goes, would you mind if I asked you why? And he takes a breath and he's like, do you want me to be honest with you? And she says, well, yeah, of course I do. He goes, the way you look doesn't fit what we think is going to sell. Because she was like a little bigger bone, right? She didn't have the whole model, like Christy Brinkley look to her, right? So she said like something in her spirit, like her inner self, like just came up and was like, fuck you, I'm doing this. And last ditch effort, she finally writes to one of the female producers of QVC, and the female producer said, okay, we're going to put you on, we're going to put your product on. She goes, but you only have 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, you have to completely sell out of 6,000 units in 10 minutes. What they didn't tell her is that within the first 1 to 2 minutes, if she's not selling, they cut you off at like 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So she goes on QVC And she was so nervous. She said she was so nervous. She couldn't even her hand was shaking so bad. She couldn't even like put the makeup on the model. So the lady on QVC like came over. She's like, here, just move over. Let me do it. She puts the makeup on the model and they sell it. Long story short, she sold her whole inventory 6,000 units in 10 minutes.
Wow.
Then she started selling through QVC. And then long story short, she was approached back by L'Oreal. L'Oreal gave her an offer for her company, turned it down, got a bigger offer, and she is the first female self-made billionaire in the US.
Wow. That's insane. What a story.
Yeah.
And
Isn't
just
that
like
an awesome? And she's yeah, she was like super on fire, super inspiring. Just, it was an amazing story. And it just goes, I wanted to share that story because I know a lot of our audience are people who are maybe still in chiropractic school or opening their practice. And my whole thought on it is like, if you can, if you have a person and they're a waitress at Denny's and they become the first female self-made billionaire, I'm not talking millionaire, guys, I'm talking billionaire. Then you know what? You could certainly do it too.
Yeah, and I think like the root in that story is one, like nothing outweighs persistence. Like persistence will get you where you want to go. Like day in, day out, keep, no matter what anyone says, keep trying. And then two, like it's clear that she was operating through passion. So she worked because she believed in something. Not, she didn't do that to become a billionaire, but she had a life-changing experience. And so then she wanted to help people just like her, which is so
Right.
on point for so many of us chiropractors, what we're doing. And so it's like kind of that point that we talked about earlier, not letting money be the driving factor, but let passion and service be your guide. And then what she showed was so much persistence. Man, that's so inspiring. Wow.
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
So, just so many takeaways, but long story short, I highly recommend that everybody have this experience at UBW, and it's totally doable. It's totally affordable to do. It's not like, like $10,000 a ticket or something like that.
Yeah, and
So it's
I went,
accessible to everybody.
they do like some marketing campaigns before they come to the city, and I went to one of the events, like it's a free event, and they gave out like probably like 10 half off tickets if you go to that. So those are coming to your city. I recommend it. So next time you live and you learn.
Awesome.
I passed up on it, and won't make that mistake again. So
Yep, I'll probably see you there. Maybe I'll see you there next year. So I'll definitely be going back.
is it a yearly rotation?
For UPW, it might be I don't know, you'll have to hop on the site, Colton, because it might be the only live event that he does. Unleashing the Power Within.
Awesome.
So he might have, you have to take a look at his website because he holds events like all over all the time. So he holds events at his home and compound in Fiji with several times per year. I think he does one UPW live a year, but he does multiple UPW events virtual now.
Nice.
So I did the virtual, but the virtual's nothing compared to the live event.
Okay. Yeah, the energy in the room, hard to beat, I bet.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, you're ready for a great week of service and, just giving the world what it needs.
Amen, brother. Amen. All right, man, you want to wrap up? It's been, I think, over a half hour already.
Yeah.
We got a lot to say this week.
Right.
Awesome. Okay, everybody. Well, this is adios, amigos.
Peace, everybody.
We'll see you next week.